Okay, so hi. So today we have a guest. He's 52 years old and he is Sanjay Gupta. I am 19 years old and my name is Asmin Gupta. So why did I say the ages? Right? The topic that we're going to talk about today, it's something that in his 52 years of life he has experienced and has gained knowledge, and I'm someone who needs to gain knowledge about this, which is so basically all 19-year-olds should know, and 52-year-old will tell us. So, first of all, how are you today?
I am fantastic.
You're fantastic.
Absolutely.
Ask me.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes,
I'm good.
How's
So-
the day so far?
It's been going good. It's a busy Sunday today. A lot of things planned. Let's
Alright.
see how much I can do.
Good to know, good to know. Busy days are good days.
Yeah. Like everything is like fun planned.
Yeah.
So, are you ready to share knowledge with the
Absolutely.
world?
Absolutely, and I am extremely happy that first thing you are recognizing that experience can be valuable and sharing of experience can be valuable. So I think that's a great thing. Thank you for that.
Okay. So, I think I forgot to tell the topic.
Mhm.
The topic is personal finance. What
Alright.
exactly is personal finance?
All right. Personal finance is number one. It's an extremely important subject in my view to learn, and extremely important for everyone. So you have picked up an extremely good subject. Thank you for that. And personal finance just means that whatever money you have, right? Which means money you are making, money you are saving, or money you have received from anywhere. It may be even inherited money. How well you manage that. What do I mean by manage that is that obviously when you have money you can keep that, let's say, in a savings account. You can, if you have cash, you can keep the cash at home. You can keep that money in a fixed deposit. You can keep that money in a mutual fund, which is a combination of equity shares of a lot of companies. And you can keep money in gold, you can keep money in real estate, which means properties, the homes and the land and the warehouses or the factories anywhere, right? So personal finance is all about understanding what is the right place to keep your money so that your money makes more money. As you know, there is a thing called interest, right? When you, let's say, put your money in a fixed deposit, you get interest over that. In a saving account, you get less. In a fixed deposit, you get more. In a equity mutual fund, you might get more returns in terms of it will not be interest, but it will be the capital appreciation. But it can be higher. At the same time, it can be lower. So, understanding the the right combination of risk and reward is what personal finance is all about. And one thing I always say about personal finance is that personal finance is very personal. So every person has to plan the finances for himself or herself according to the time horizon they have, for which they can do the investments or they can leave the money unused or untouched for that matter. The risk taking ability, everyone has different risk taking abilities. One in terms of mental risk taking ability, the other in terms of financial risk taking ability. And then what kind of return expectations do you have, right? Because somebody is happy with a 6% return, somebody is looking for 15%, 18%, 20% return. So it depends person to person. That is why I say that personal finance is very personal.
You use so many words. Like it's all like a mix up in my mind.
I can imagine.
If you have to describe it in one sentence, right? How will you describe it? In just one sentence.
Sure. So I would say personal finance means managing money in such a way that it generates enough return for you, number one, to beat the inflation, and Number two, it grows. Yeah. So
So
in
basically,
short,
money
I would
making
say
money
correct.
so that we can beat inflation.
Absolutely.
Okay, that does sound like something very important.
Mm-hmm.
In what age group should people start worrying, or not worrying, but thinking about managing their own personal finances?
Okay, so I would say the learning process should start somewhere, in my view, right after 15. That's ideal, but if not, in between 15 to 20 is a good time to start learning a little bit about personal finance.
Okay.
And then the execution actually starts from your first salary or your first income. That's the ideal stage.
Okay. So, what are the mistakes that people usually make while managing their money in like their early 20s to late 20s?
Okay, so um, one mistake in my view is that not understanding that how important is personal finance. The reason I say so is that let's say there are two people who are starting their career at the same time, right? Let's say two friends, and one friend is good at personal finance management, the other is not good at it. They start their career at the same time at the same salary, let's say 50,000 per month. Okay. Person A is saving 20% every month, and then he's investing. We'll come to that where is he investing.
Yeah.
Person B is going without a planning, and he saves off and on, right? I mean, he will spend first, and whatever is left he will plan to save. That's his plan. Once in a while he is able to save, but most of the time he is not able to save. The difference in the total amount available to them, let's say at the age of 40, can be huge. When I say huge, it can be maybe even 10x, right? So if person A has 10 crore rupees, person B may have only 1 crore rupees. And the difference can be only how the personal finance has been managed. And all of that difference is not the saving, by the way. All of that difference is saving and the income generated by that saving. And a significant portion is the income generated by the saving, not the saving itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay, you said save money and you said we can invest it,
Right.
right? What's kind of like the difference between that?
Okay. So saving is something which comes before investing, right? So let's say you are earning 50,000 rupees in your first salary. Okay. So unless you save money, you cannot invest. So if you spend all 50,000 in the month, then you have nothing left to save, right? So in simple words, you have to first save the money, then only you can invest the money.
But the money that we save, won't we want to use it for our everyday life? I mean, if we are earning 50,000,
Mm-hmm.
then, and if we save the 50,000, how will we invest? Because wait, I think I'm getting confused.
No problem. You can rephrase your question.
Yeah. Can you just repeat what you said?
Okay, I just said that as let's say you start a job after a few years, whenever you start your career, and then your first salary is 50,000 rupees. So you have two choices. One is that you spend the entire 50,000. The other is you spend a part of it because for your daily expenses, for your needs, you will need some money. So you spend that money and you save a portion of that money, right? Which means let's say you save 10,000 out of it. So if you save 10,000, that 10,000 can be invested. When I say invested,
The whole of 10,000?
so again, it's a choice you have, right? It's a choice you have. So whole was 50,000, your salary. You decided to spend 40,000, or you needed to spend 40,000, which you did. Now 10,000 is left. Okay, so that 10,000 can be invested in different ways. You can keep that in savings account, you can keep that in fixed deposit, you can buy equity shares, you can buy mutual fund, you can buy gold, etc. Right? So investing is a step after the saving. But one thing to understand here is very important, that which is to your earlier question, a mistake most people do. They think that I will spend first and whatever is left I will invest. Okay, but the right way, as a personal finance professional, I can tell you is that you first decide how much you want to save, right? And then if you want to save 10,000 rupees, as soon as you get your salary, the first thing should be to pay yourself, which means that invest that 10,000 rupees somewhere, lock that down, and then you manage your expenses within 40,000 that is left.
That you mentioned like so many ways of investing.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know which one is the best for us?
Okay, so like I earlier mentioned, you have to understand your preferences. So a younger age person can take more risk because this person has longer time horizon. In general, I am talking. Of course, it will differ person to person. The other thing is that if your mental setup can be that are you ready to take risk mentally or not. The reason risk is relevant is because the more the risk, the more the reward. The less the risk, the less the reward. That's a general rule. In the savings account, you have least amount of risk and you have liquidity. You can take out your money anytime. Okay, so that gives you least interest. Let's say 3%. However, if you invest in a fixed deposit, what happens is that you get, let's say, 7% interest. However, you have to lock that money for, let's say, 1 year minimum, which means that for 1 year you cannot withdraw that money. Generally, there are options to withdraw with a penalty, but then it's not straightforward. Then, if you think that you can take a little more risk and you want to invest for long term, then you can invest in a mutual fund, equity mutual fund, which can it is likely that it can generate 11% to 12% return for you, but it also comes with the risk that it can also go down in the short term, which means that after 1 year you might see that you invested 10,000 rupees, but that 10,000 is down to 9,000 rupees or even 8,000 rupees or 7,000 rupees for that matter, right? There is no limit to going down, but at the same time there is no limit to going up. It can also become from 10,000 to 12,000 to 13,000 to 15,000. It depends on the market conditions. So depending on your risk profile, the time available, you can decide where do you want to invest your money. Right.
What advice do you have for someone who's just starting to like manage their own money?
Okay, so my primary advice is that uh, number one, start right from the beginning when your career starts. Do not think that I will start the saving after 5 years, after 10 years, because time is extremely important. Time is your friend here. Um, Number one. Number two is that invest first when you get the salary and then spend later, which means that, again, taking the same example, if you get 50,000, you want to save 10,000 per month, so you save that 10,000 per month in a FD or wherever you want, and then you manage your rest of the month in 40,000 rupees. Do not think that let me first spend whatever I need and then whatever is left I will invest that. So these are two things which are very important. The third is try not to really run after too much return, because too much return comes with too much risk. A lot of people, youngsters, in fact, even elders, are trying to make money very fast by doing trading in the stock market or otherwise. It's an extremely high risk, high return game, and as per SEBI data, more than 90% people lose money in that versus make money in that. So it is better to stay away from trading and focus on investing for long term. Specifically, people who are starting their career, they have in the early part of their life lesser responsibilities, and they have a long way to go, and they have a lot of time in which market volatility can also be handled better, and then in all likelihood they will get much better return with a reasonable amount of risk.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice. Okay, there's this term going around, budgeting.
Okay.
So, how important is budgeting?
See, budgeting is kind of very important because budgeting um, helps you be prepared about your finances, how much you want to spend. So budgeting means that at the beginning of the month you plan how much I'm going to spend on grocery, how much I am going to spend on let's say buying clothes for myself, how much I'm going to spend on entertainment. So you kind of divide, you create buckets that okay, out of my 40,000 rupees that I want to spend in the month, 10,000 will go into grocery, another 5,000 will go into entertainment, another 5,000 will go into clothing, and so on, right? So, and you try to stick to the budget, which will help you take the right decisions, right? So you will not do probably the impulse buy. If you find a dress which is like 15,000 rupees and your budget is 10,000, you will say that okay, I have a budget, I cannot exceed my budget, so I will stay within the 10,000 rupees. So budgeting helps you plan your finances better and it helps you invest for the future.
It can't always be very rigid, right? Or
Which
does
is
it have
correct.
to be?
No, it is not supposed to be very rigid. Once in a while you can do the deviations, but of course the idea is that should remain exceptional, and you should try to stick to the plan maybe at least 80% of the time.
You know how like online shopping is getting popular and
Yeah.
people are using UPI,
All the time.
card. And now that we don't use cash, we don't really see how much money is going from our account.
Correct.
Right? So like many people are like spending a lot of money without really realizing how much they are spending. So like, do you have any tips to control that unnecessary spending?
Okay, so see, one is like I said, first thing you should do is to invest a portion of money you want to invest, which means that that portion, let's say 20% is already saved. Now you're left with, again using the same example, 40,000 rupees. So one is that is in all likelihood you will not cross the 40,000 limit because you've already done at least your saving part. Number two is if you think that you are kind of addicted to impulse buying, then maybe think of using a rule of 24 hours, right? If there is something which you think you want but you don't need, put that decision off for 24 hours. Say that okay, if I have to buy this, I will buy it tomorrow instead of today. So in many cases, you will avoid the impulse buy, but that 24 hours will also give you time to think that if you really need that thing, then you can buy that. So idea is not to deprive yourself of everything, but the idea is to do the conscious buying about whatever you really want to buy. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. So you said like to invest 20% and the other 40% we can spend.
No, I said the other 40,000, which means
Oh, sorry.
I had taken
40,000.
Correct.
So wait, 80% we can spend.
right.
So in this investment, does emergency fund?
Okay, so it's a wonderful question. I think I'm glad you're asking that. So generally, if you go to a personal finance advisor to create a plan for yourself, number one thing they will say is that first thing you should do is to buy an insurance, right? Which means two insurance are very important. Number one is the health insurance, and number two is the term life insurance. So term life insurance is mostly relevant for people who are the earning members of the family and others are dependent on their income. And in today's world, term life insurance is not very expensive. You should buy a term life insurance of whatever you can afford depending on your salary and your spending capacity. Again, the health insurance is extremely important because health expenses are going up and nobody can guarantee that you will not fall sick. It may be sickness, it may be accident, it may be any other reason you may have to spend money on health expenses, and it's a good idea to take the health insurance. So these two things you should cover yourself even before starting to invest, right? So maybe from the first month salary, you can first thing you can do is to buy the insurance, right? Pay the annual premium, and
How
then
do we know how much insurance we need? Because we don't know like how much money we might need later.
so see there are some tools available. There, for example, there is a website called Policy Bazaar, right, which guides you on these things depending on your age, depending on your responsibilities, depending on how much safety you want, right, person to person. So number one, they guide you and they have advisors who can guide you. And there are some rules of thumb, right? For example, for life insurance, it is generally said that you should take 20 times of your annual income, right? If your annual income is 6 lakh rupees, then your life insurance should be 1 crore 20 lakh rupees. And similarly, health insurance, there is no rule of thumb as such, but given the today's environment, I guess it will be good to get a health insurance of minimum 10 lakh rupees in the early stages of life. And as you go up, you can increase that amount, but initially I think 10 lakh rupees of health insurance is a good to start with. And these days you also get top up health insurance policies, which means that you can take a base policy of 10 lakh rupees, and then a supplementary or a top up policy of another 10 lakh rupees or 20 lakh rupees. So we can get into detail some other day that how the main policy and the top up policy works, but I think protecting yourself from these things is important. And of course, whatever money you are saving, right, and getting into your investment, they can also be used for emergency situations. It is not that you cannot use them. Actually, that is the whole purpose. If you think of it, you are saving it for the rainy day, as they say, right? So if you reach a point where you need money, the good thing is that you have been saving and then you can really dig into that.
Yeah, that really makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of social media, there's like many young people, my age people, are thinking of getting to like stocks and crypto. So like, what should the beginners like? I don't really know much about stocks. I know some things that you have told me. If I really want to start buying stocks and selling stocks,
Right.
how should I start, or how should any beginner start?
So see, I would say that the best way to start is that with the mutual funds. The reason mutual funds are relatively better is because number one, they are likely to generate in the long run better return than your savings account and the fixed deposits. Number two, they are relatively safer in the long run, because of the construct of the mutual funds. Mutual funds essentially means that you are taking shares of, let's say, 30 different companies if you are investing in Sensex. So it is not likely that all the companies will fail or they will not do well, right? Out of 30, some will do well, some will move slow, some will move fast, but the average of all of that is a reasonable return, right? So even if you invest in Sensex, which is about top 30 companies of India, you get on a long period basis about 11 to 12% return easily, which is against the inflation of 5 to 6% is a decent growth, right, on your real money. And depending on your risk, if you want to invest in higher risk categories, you can go to other mutual funds which can generate more return but which come with more risk also. So I think mutual fund is a good point. After your life insurance is done, after your health insurance is done, then you can go for mutual fund. And mutual fund also allows you to because of the variety of the mutual funds available, that you can divide, let's say you're saving 10,000, you can divide that in large cap mutual funds, mid cap mutual funds, small cap mutual funds. So large caps will be less risk, less return. Mid caps will be medium risk and medium return, and small caps are generally high risk and high return. It's not a guarantee, but in the long run, that's how the history has kind of played out. So I think we can learn from the history.
Yeah. Like, what exactly is mutual funds? We've all seen the ads,
Uh-huh.
so we know a little about it. But what exactly do they do, or does it mean?
Okay, so let me first talk what is the stock, right? Stock or a share of a company, because to explain the mutual funds, I will have to first explain what are the shares of the company. So shares of a company, as the name, the word itself suggests that you get a share of a company. Um, let's take an example of a good Indian company, maybe Reliance Industries. For a second, let's assume the total value of Reliance Industries today is 1 lakh crore rupees, right? And then they divide that into 1 crore shares, right? So which means that one share will be 1 lakh rupees. Now you want to invest 1 lakh rupees, so you will get one share of Reliance Industries. Okay, so now you are one, you have a fractional ownership of the Reliance Industries Limited. If Reliance Industries makes 1 crore rupees, because you have one share out of 1 crore shares, you will get your share according to that. Now, mutual fund is a combination of number of companies. Like I said, in an index fund, which is uh, Sensex fund, or in Nifty 50, in which there are 50 company shares, is a combination of 50 shares, which means 50 companies. So one may be Reliance, then second may be HDFC Bank, the third may be ICICI Bank, the fourth may be Zen Technologies, and so on, right? So in a way, you are taking, if you are investing 50,000 rupees, 1,000 rupees getting into each of these companies. Now, again, as we spoke, that all the companies are not likely to go down at the same time or go up at the same time. Some will go down, some will go up, but history shows us that on an average you get a reasonable return when you average out everything. So which means that you are reducing your risk, because if you invest in one company, all 50,000, and that company goes down because of whatever good bad reason, then you lose all your money or a large portion of your money, right? So mutual fund is a way to manage your risk and spread your money across various companies, so that your risk and returns are very well balanced.
Okay, I think I'm going to try mutual funds.
Okay, yeah.
Finally, like, one last question.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to give one financial advice to students and young adults, what would that advice be?
Okay, first thing I would say is learn about it. There are some very good books, there are some very good, in today's world, YouTube tutors or coaches or personal finance experts who are teaching these things. First thing I would say is that learn. Before you start earning, it is important to learn about it. And because if you learn and if you start investing right from the beginning of your career, I can almost guarantee, even with a very low start, so to say, right? Even if you start with a 25,000 salary or a 50,000 salary, if you do your personal finance well, then at the age of 40 to 45, you can be financially free, right? Which means essentially that then your investments will make so much money every month that you may not have to work, right? At least to run your uh, monthly expenses, your family expenses. If you do well, it is highly likely that 20 years of a reasonable investment can make you financially free, right? So otherwise the risk is that you reach 45 and you haven't done your planning well, and even if your job is toxic, you can't change that, you can't take the risk of leaving that job, You still have to struggle every day, continue doing that job even if you like it or not, because you need money. But if you have financial freedom, then the advantage is that if you are extremely unhappy in a job, you can decide to leave that, because you know that you can live without job for a few months, and then with the free mind you can find a new job in next few months, right? So it gives you peace of mind. It allows you to obviously live much better life, much peaceful life. And think about it, once you have financial freedom, you know that you can do a lot of other things, right? I mean, you can take long breaks from jobs if you want. You can focus on your health, very very important. You can focus on your physical health, mental health. You can focus on relationships. You can focus on your social circle. So achieving financial freedom, in my view, should be a goal for every youngster. And for that, number one, it is important to learn about personal finance and then execute that right from the first salary or the first income, whatever is the case. And it is not difficult, is what I can say. There are only 4 to 5 good rules somebody has to follow consistently, and it will happen.
Okay, I think that's it for today. The moral of this whole episode or the whole video is learn. Okay, and this video can be the start of it.
Yep.
It can be the starting of someone learning about it. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I
I'm
hope you
glad.
did.
Even I enjoyed it. I learned a lot.
Good to know. Good to know.